Well, it's that time of year again. We're getting close to the Oscars, and I'm going to watch a bunch of them for recording. But, Michael, you never did the Oscars for last year. We did. I just haven't uploaded it yet. Yeah. It's going to be the Mackle and Zach finale because we're kind of done with that series for now, at least. But we will be continuing the tradition on Matt's channel, so make sure you're watching that. Matt Presents, if you enjoyed those Oscar videos. And I think Matt will carry it out very well. And, yeah, it starts back on Movie Mackle and goes on, lives on another day on Matt Presents. Zach will be joining for that too, I believe, so we'll still have the full gang together for that. That'll be fun. But I'm doing my catch-up for 2023 movies now, and that does not just mean Oscar-nominated films, because I don't really respect the Academy, and I like to watch what actually appeals to me, and sometimes that lines in with what the Academy does. I will occasionally force one in there. I used to try to watch all the Best Picture nominees, but then last year they nominated, was it last year, the year before, they nominated, Avatar, The Way of Water, and no, I don't want to. You can't make me. I'm not going to. And if anyone liked that movie, they just clicked off because I'm being condescending. I'm just going to talk about the 8 I've seen so far. I have not seen a lot. And we'll be catching up, and I'll be recording more of these. Hooray! Until I start to neglect it, which I'll definitely do. Pooh, Blood, and Honey. We did a whole Hall of Victories episode on this. That is the podcast that me and my friend Matt do. That if you watch any of these videos, you know what that is by now, because I shout it out all the time, and every time I shout it out, I announce it as if it's the first time I've ever said anything about it. It went up against a Grinch live-action hybrid that was supposed to be a horror movie, but where that one was actually kind of clever in its idea, it was horrible in its presentation. Pooh, Blood, and Honey was better in its presentation, but the idea, there is no good idea there. It is this very cynical thing going on with horror movies that you can see again with Steamboat Willie happening again, where they have the film prepared right on time for when it goes in the public domain. There's no real heart or passion or love for these projects. They are made quickly because they know that they can be the first to do something crazy with this public domain item. You know what would be actually crazy? Put them in a quality product. Put them in a fucking quality product. It doesn't even have to be about them. If you just use them, or do something funny with it at least. I'll give an example, and I'm using my own project as an example, but I'm not the one who wrote it, so I don't have to gloat too hard at this. I do a webcomic that me and my friend Matt make together. And Matt, without saying anything to me about it, just threw in Steamboat Willie as a character, and his only trait is that he loves unions. He loves forming unions. That's it. It's just a little joke there. Even kind of pokes fun of the fact that people are overusing him for horror and making him curse, even though people have been doing that for years already. And that made me laugh very hard when he sent that to me. So it's possible to do something fun with characters going into the public domain. If your first, idea is to go for doing a slasher or horror movie, I think that's dumb, and I think it's already been done. It's been done by stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's. It doesn't use pre-existing characters, but it goes into the idea of something that's supposed to be for kids and child-friendly, and makes it into more of a horror piece. In fact, with Mickey, something like the Bendy games would be a qualifier of something that already beats Steamboat Willie to that. There are fucking 3 Steamboat Willie horror projects. There's a game and 2 movies. Is it 2 games and 2 movies? I'm sure there's more than that. Those are just the ones that got an actual studio working on them. So they're have trailers being released by different YouTube channels and all that. No, Pooh, Blood, and Honey, if it was an exceptional good product, it came out okay, you know what? They actually tried. They are rushing to do the public domain, but they tried. I would give it a lot of credit. I would immediately be giving it credit because I want to see someone do that. I want to see someone try. They did not try. It was horrible. Far from the worst thing we've talked about on the show. One of the most cynical things I think I've ever watched. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I kind of understand when people, when Martin Scorsese says that Marvel movies are theme park rides, even though people really hate that comparison. Because I do get that with some movies where I go to the theater, I have a great time with it, and then once I leave the theater, nothing sticks with me, and the interest to go back doesn't return, and that was me with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. As a movie, the animatronics were really well made. It was very good puppet work. There was a little bit of CG used too, but I don't think it was too distracting. They toned down the red eyes from what was shown in the trailers a lot, which I was happy about because I feel like the blank stares is a lot more creepy than, ooh, their eyes are red and glowing. I think that was a way better approach. I had a good time with the movie. I like the references. I like that they acknowledge like internet stuff. Something that would be a complaint for one person actually would be a praise for me, like including Matt Pat, including the Living Tombstone song for the credits, because Five Nights at Freddy's feels like such an internet culture game. It feels like such an internet culture franchise. So to throw that into the movie and kind of treat it like a little celebration, I think is nice. Could there be a better Five Nights movie that stands out better and works better as a movie? I think so. But as in terms of like a fun attraction ride, theme park ride, yeah, it wasn't a ride, but it's like an attraction, you know, and it was fun. And I had a good time. Went and saw my buddy Stuart when I was visiting him, and I had a really good time with it. And I don't think that there's much more for me to say about the movie. I can't argue with anyone who didn't like it because I know what they're talking about. But for what it was, I had fun. And that was kind of the same case with the Mario movie. Minus, I think that movie has, like, better visuals throughout. I think it's animated very well. I like the score a lot. I like how it does incorporate music from the games. And I had a lot of fun with it, but it's another one where I tried rewatching it once it came to Netflix, and I'm like, nah. It doesn't really have enough of a story or good enough characters to really make me want to watch it again, but it's fun. It was a fun day out. When I saw it with my buddy Gage when he was visiting. We also saw John Wick 4, which was a much better watch with a lot more rewatchability, although it's a very different movie we're talking about now. I've never been that into the stories in the John Wick movie past the first one, because I loved the simplicity of the first one, he's trying to get revenge for his dog getting killed. And I think that was great. I think that it was like a very humorous action movie, and that was a very good, simple setup for it. And the story in the second movie, I felt like it was just taking up way too much of the movie. I didn't love the second one. Third movie got back into more focus on action over plot, and that's what I prefer. It's what I prefer of John Wick, at least. There's other cases where that's not going to be the case, where I prefer the story and characters over the action scenes, but they do such a great job with them in John Wick. And the sequences are all done really well, and there's so many different steps to the action scenes, and they change locations a lot. And they do stuff that I haven't seen other movies do. I think that it's a very unique set of action movies. But I'm not into the lore, and John Wick 4, it's a little bit of a mix between 2 and 1, you know, where it's the finale, kind of. There might be more. So they're trying to have a bigger script. They're trying to tell more of like John's backstory and like this, you know, the people he's been involved with in his life. And there's also, you know, a big, you know, part of the story is like talking about when are you going to stop? When are you going to be finally ready to let go? Because there really is no ending to this. He's in way too deep with this. There is no ending, unless the ending is, you know, he dies. But the fight scenes in this movie were really stellar, and the final one is one of the most impressive I've ever seen. And they have some really great long takes, and they have some like really amazing ideas for it. And I'm being a little vague right now, but check it out for yourself if you haven't yet. It's a really fun action movie. The whole series is fun. Second one's the only one I'm not super into, but even then, it's not like terrible. I saw Leo, the Adam Sandler animated movie, because it just got all this hype of being better received than the big Disney movie, which was Wish. The Sandler movie got that, so I was like, all right, let's check this out. And it was mildly funny, and it had like a charming story, and yeah, I liked it. It wasn't great, but it was a fun little movie, and I props to Sandler for making something, or at least being involved in something mildly entertaining. I think kids would enjoy it, and as an adult, I liked it just fine. There's songs in the movie, and I did not like the songs, but the writing and the characters was good. You know, like a 6 out of 10, a solid 6 out of 10. So Thanksgiving, it's a slasher movie. Didn't know it was based on one of the Grindhouse trailers, which apparently like 3 of those have been made into actual movies now, and it was great. It's not like a super intelligent movie or anything. It's not like it has like the best story ever, but I had a lot of fun with it. The deaths were very unique and honestly really disturbing. It's been a while since I've seen a lot of slasher movies. It's been a while since one like shocked me this much with like some of the things that they did, like especially near the end with like the Thanksgiving dinner. And it's so campy too. Like the movie's so well aware of how stupid it is. I mean, the movie literally opens on a Black Friday gone wrong where there's like several deaths. And I know Black Friday has been like that. People have been trampled, but they play it up, you know, they take it a step further. And the entire movie's like that, and it never, like, takes its focus off of it for too long. And there is actually a mystery to solve, and the ending was a little bit predictable, but they had a couple of, like, predictable reveals. So, like, it was like, okay, it could be this guy, it could be this guy. So even though it was one of the characters, like, I had, like, 3 characters in my head, it's going to be one of them. It was one of those 3. There were still 2 others I was questioning, so it wasn't the worst mystery ever either. I had a lot of fun with this. Went and saw it in cinema with my cousins, and we had some good laughs. Jump scares in film are edited in a way where it's very easy to see them coming. You can normally tell, like, once they have, like, the eerie music fade in, or they just have complete silence and they're walking in an area or alone in a house. It's coming within 5 to 10 seconds. Almost every single time without failure, it's about to hit you. Works on a lot of people, certainly worked on my cousins. They were jumping throughout the movie. There was one that got me, though. It got me once or twice. It did have it did sneak up on me occasionally. I don't mind jump scares. I do dislike it when it's super predictable and lame. But if you can successfully get me to jump, all right. Props. It's very easy to do that with video games because it's not a guarantee it's going to happen. In a movie, it's a guarantee, so it's just kind of getting the editing cues down, because a lot of movies do the exact same thing with that, and Thanksgiving's guilty of that too, but as a whole, it's still a really fun movie. I only got like a minute left to talk about the 2 best movies on here so far, but I also don't know what to say about them that already hasn't been talked about to death. This would almost be a better podcast discussion where I can kind of work off of someone. But Barbie and Spider-Verse, which are actually 2 that have been nominated, I don't think any of the other ones got nominated. I thought there was a chance that Leo or Mario would be nominated for Best Animated Feature. Did not happen. Not too surprising. I thought they stood a chance, but one's a video game movie and one's an Adam Sandler movie. It's not unheard of that they're not going to get picked for that. Spider-Verse was phenomenal. I don't know which one I like more, the first one or the second one. I think that the first one has a simplicity that I like more to it. I like the adventure more in the first movie, but the second one really dives into the characters deeper with both Miles and Gwen, and I enjoyed that a lot, and I feel like I'm going to need to rewatch it before I determine which one I like the most. And then we even have this third one coming out, but I think that the second one did a better job expanding on everything. Well, I mean, of course it did a better job. It's the one that had to expand on everything, but I think it had better character development. I think it was more, it definitely did its job as a sequel very well. And Barbie, very good. It's getting a lot of outrage with the Oscars only nominated for like a bunch of stuff, but not Margot Robbie or Best Director. I think Best Director is especially stupid since they only nominated 5 directors. And realistically, the directing was done very well, and I might be getting cut off here, but let's see if it lets me go a few extra